This is my squat army. Games Workshop no longer makes squats, so I had to piece this together from some Games Workshop models and some Mantic models. I figured that the story behind this army would be, if I was ever going to use it on the table, would be that they are Space Marines. It's just that this particular chapter has a corrupted gene seed where when a Space Marine gets the gene seed as an adolescent and that starts their change from a human to a transhuman Space Marine, everything works for this chapter. It's just that they stop growing in height. They just become chunky little, basically squats. But obviously Space Marines, because then at least I had an army list and a codex that I could sort of determine what unit sizes and what units to use. Obviously they're not Space Marines, they're meant to be squats. It's just that if you were going to ever play them, I suppose you could use the Space Marine codex, hence the scout squads with land speeders. So I turned these into land speeders. These are part of the Archanaut Star collecting set, and I got 2 of those. But I didn't want dirigibles, I wanted land speeders, so I gave them, I moved the propellers from, I don't know where they're supposed to be in the ordinary model, but I moved them to back here, and I glued on some missile pods and some heavy bolter action. So they're the land speeders, and then they're Games Workshop Archanaut models, but I gave them Mantic heads so that they would match the regular Mantic models. The heavy weapon squads, so there's some with missile launchers and there's some with, I guess they'd be multi-melters. The heavy weapon squads are lilac, and then the regular infantry is Fulgur in pink, because I wanted this to be literally the cutest army ever, because why not? That there is a Mantic Forgefather Dreadnought type thing with obviously some Games Workshop parts on it. So for scale, you can see there regular Forgefather models, and then there's the Dreadnought thing. The ball from the Landspeeder model, I don't know what it's actually called, but it's in my army, it's a Landspeeder. So I had these balls left over, you know, two leftover balls. I made them into dreadnoughts by gluing on little feet. The little feet are part of the little legs, the chunky little thigh things going on there. They're part of the Archanaut craft thing. I glued on like a hammer and a drill with flamethrowers everywhere. So these are the sort of elite Space Marine dreadnoughts that get in and wreck face in close combat. So they've just got flamethrowers for the auto hits. Then these are normal Mantic infantry with, I had these like silver plastic bead things. The idea was to make the jump pack squad here mirror the Archanaut jump packers here. I'm not sure jump packers is a word, but jump pack troops. Because there were 2-star collector boxes, I ended up with 6 of those, and then I ended up with 10 of these fellas. I don't know what they're called in the Archanaut army, because I don't collect Archanauts, but I figured that they'd be the veterans in the Space Marine army versus the regular infantry. So there's a Space Marine with a heavy bolter type weapon, and I do think that the sergeants, most of the sergeants in the squads have these little hammers that Mantic come on the Mantic sprue, but a couple of them, like for instance that sergeant's got the little hammer, you can see, like that, but a couple of them I didn't have enough hammers, so I had to give them chain swords, and I think it actually looks quite good. So then there are the bikers. They're I think they're called, I don't know if they're called Valkyries or something by Mantic. That's like a squat on a bike, and that was perfect, to be honest. and that's some sort of thud gun looking thing. I figured that would work as a, you know, the Tech Marine with the heavy weapon, but I might not actually ever use that. Then there's these characters that I made. So I made a couple of lieutenants. I did this a lot with the army. The standard infantry is pink. The special squads tend to be lilac, and then the other squads have got, like, so with these bikers there's lilac bikers and then there's pink bikers, just to keep them separate for other players and for me. If I was ever using this army, then I could say, okay, well, the pink biker squad's going to do this and the lilac biker squad's going to do that, and then it's easy to keep track, particularly with so many models. So I did a blue lieutenant and a lilac lieutenant, and a little medic. The little medic, I think the little medic bags are from Warlord Games American infantry kit, I think. Then there's the sort of commander with a dwarf banner on his back, and the laurel wreath from the Empire Knights set from years ago, and some sort of Tyranid skull. I don't remember where that came from. Then I made a Tech Marine. The Tech Marine has got parts from a bunch of different places. A lot of Games Workshop stuff, but also some Mantic stuff. Obviously it's a Mantic model, just with lots of Games Workshop stuff stuck to it. This backpack, I think, is I think it's the communications backpack from Militarum Tempestus set. So there's a lot of parts went in that one. Then I made a chaplain, but obviously because this is a cute army, and I wanted to maximize the cuteness, I only gave him a black helmet, and his Crozius has got the black rod. I think he might be the only model in the entire army with black, except for on bases like the flying bases of the jump pack troops and the land speeders. I think he's the only model with black anywhere on him, because black's the kind of foreboding colour on a miniature, whereas I wanted them to look super cute. So I hope he still looks cute. I don't know. And then there's this Librarian Terminator model with a dwarf backpack made from I can't remember what. My words are failing me today. A banner from Warhammer As It Was. Then there's the Terminators here. I don't know if the phone's picking this up because the lights, the sun's streaming in, so everything looks a bit dark. They're almost as is from Mantic, except obviously that chap's got an Arcanaut rotary cannon to be an assault cannon. Now the bikes, these things, practically everything here I was able to get, online sales. Mantic did a sale, which is why there's so many bikes and such. These are actually what Mantic call Marauder models, which is like their word for orcs. But I glued a little gunner on the back. So the idea is that little green vision block there, that glass vision block, the driver would be inside, contained within, and then the gunner is in the back. So these are actually counts as assault bikes rather than just the regular bikes. And then these, I knew that Games Workshop were about to bring out the new range of orc models, so I snapped these up before they went off sale to make a second assault bike squad. The gunners though are so short that I had to stand them on D6. So I had some clear D6s that aren't particularly good to use in games, because the numbers are difficult to read, especially if people have got vision problems or if the light's not great. So I used the dice to make basically just little steps for the squads to stand on so that they can use the guns. I mean, it's a terrible design, because the driver's going to be deafened, but they look cute. So that's the whole army. There's 2 squads of veterans, there's 1 squad of Terminators, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squads of infantry, 2 jump pack squads, 2 assault attack bike squads, 2 biker squads, 2 scout squads with land speeders, 2 devastator squads, 2 lieutenants, an apothecary, a commander, a tech marine, a chaplain, and a librarian. A regular dreadnought and 2 elite dreadnoughts. I think that's it. That's oh, and obviously the tech marine with the thud gun back there. So this has been a fairly long video while I've waffled on and explained why I made this army, and hopefully they look as cute on camera as they do in real life. So yeah.